Hi Kiwi, we are back at Hades 1, and today we are going to be running the aspect of Zagreus on the spear. We're going to be taking the Palm Blossom, and the reason for that is I don't really know what I want to build this run, so I'm just going to let the gods decide for us. We're going to take 2 levels of Jury Summons and 3 levels of Extreme Measures. We don't really run the spear very often, so we don't need a lot of heat to meet our next level of whatever these terms are called. The bounties, that's what they're called, the bounties. Anyway, let's start the run and see where it takes us. A couple days since I last recorded Hades. I took a little bit of a hiatus from recording as a whole. Alright, we're starting with Artemis even without her keepsake, I guess. Alright then.
I've never come across a target I couldn't take down. I expect the same of you, you hear me? Hopefully.
Oh, she paused so long I was like, okay, I guess she's done talking. No, she said, hopefully you hear me. We will take her special, 20% chance to deal extra critical damage and 73% damage up. We are...
better hide.
That's going to feel pretty good, I have a feeling. And we'll take whatever Chaos can offer us. If they can give us a good special boosting boon, that's awesome. If not, I don't know what I want, frankly.
I find that it is difficult maintaining my connection with many consciousnesses, such as yours and that of the goddess Nyx. Yet I am also finding that this difficulty is fully warranted. Our connections give me much to consider as I await our next exchange.
That's an interesting consideration. I guess if you're constantly present in someone's life, or like all of your connections' lives, eventually that just becomes kind of numb, maybe? But I don't know if that's true, because I mean, Kiwi and I are attached at the hip, and I don't ever feel numb to that. Every day is great. Alright, let's see. Ooh, 48% more damage on our special. I think we are very much going a special build here, Kiwi, so cannot use my cast for the next 3 encounters or I'll take damage, but afterwards I get a basically 50% boost to the special damage. But, yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the connection you have with the individual that you are, that comment is aimed towards, perhaps, because I certainly feel as though there are people who, if I was around every day, I would probably get tired of, but Kiwi is 100%, and I can say this after over 6 years of experience, is definitely not one of them. It's kind of wild that we've been together for so long now, Kiwi, isn't it? But anyway, getting all saccharine for out of nowhere. Does feel like our damage is still fairly lacking at base if we're only doing 149 on crit, but I anticipate a good hammer will change a lot of that. The question is, when will we see that hammer, and will we even be offered a hammer that focuses on the special is the other big question. But we are basically playing a very weak version of the bow, because... Well, actually, I guess it's at rapid hits, going back and forth, it's pretty solid. I don't know what else I would want to make this build really come online, but Palm Blossom will help give us some pretty solid damage. I could go for an increased rarity here, but I'll save my coin for now, because I still don't really have a good idea of what I want this build to become. We've got Artemis on the special, which means we could go for some of her duo boons. So maybe we go for Aphrodite on the attack and then go for Heart Rend so that our crit damage does more damage. Alternatively, I mean, that probably sounds like the best option here. So maybe that's the route I go. Frankly, the gods that we want on the special the most probably would be Artemis or someone who has more like definitely a higher damage modifier would be good too, so like Athena would be decent, or Aphrodite, because she has some of the highest damage modifiers. But overall, I think, unfortunately, Aphrodite is one of the weaker gods, because after you get past her 2 like damage boosting core boons, meaning her attack and her special, she doesn't offer a lot, and even her duos can be fairly lacking. But I'm liking the spear a lot, actually. The special's doing work. We got lucky that we were offered such a high tier special so early on. We're already doing almost 200 damage. Oh, perfect. So this was the only hammer that we haven't unlocked on the spear yet. Your special hits up to 7 foes, dealing 30% base damage for each. That actually sounds pretty good. I mean, at least for this build. We'll gladly take Skewer here and see how it works. I think the other thing, probably the other boon the other hammer we really want is Charge Skewer, it might be called. Basically, it lets you charge up your special attack, and then when you let it fly, I think it goes up to 200% more damage, and then you're really playing the bow on the spear. Dionysus, what do you have to offer if you were to duo with Artemis? It would be chance to crit on poisoned enemies, or hungover. Pardon me, Damn it, potential crit chance on... Oh no. Pardon me. Don't know where that came from. I am sorry. Yeah, it would be... Splitting Headache. It would give us 7.5% more damage per tick of Hangover. That sounds decent on paper, but do I want it? I mean, if I were to take Dionysus, I would likely take either his dash, or I would take his call. His call does a lot of damage. It is a mini-boss, so we get a high rarity one, too, if we were able to get it. I think I'm gonna go for it. Let's do it. We'll go for Dionysus, Athena, and Aphrodite. I think those are gonna be the gods I'm most interested in at this point. Wow, Chain Skewer comes back really fast. I like this. Ooh. Okay, this build is feeling... I actually, you know what? One big detriment to Chain Skewer is because half our damage is the recall of the spear.
Zag, I cannot believe your mom's Persephone. That's something else, I gotta tell you, man. I never took her for the sort to be all into underworld stuff.
I guess the one downside to Chain Skewer is because half of our damage comes from the recall of the spear. If it bounces to a different enemy than the one I'm really focusing on DPS, I will be having a harder time recalling it and making it hit the enemy on its return. Alright, look at that. An epic level Dionysus' Aid. 18 damage every 0.5 seconds. If we get it to max gauge, it lasts for 9 seconds. That's pretty solid. Though I don't think you really need to go for max gauge on Dionysus nearly as much as other gods, by virtue of the fact that... Whoa, oh my goodness, man, Chain Skewer looks awesome on little enemies like that. Like, look at that. It's basically like we basically have a rapid-fire Zeus cast on our special.
That's what you get.
And we don't have to deal with the frustrations of our cast gem being
good enough to eat.
Diluted elsewhere. 100% damage modifier on the special seems great. There's Poseidon. I don't really want Poseidon on this build, do I? So I guess I'll take the Arabiscate and go for this, because I think we have a pretty...
pain.
I think we'll have a pretty easy time not taking damage, unless we get like a really fast shooting projectile-based enemy.
Welcome to Erebus.
Or a flame chariot spawns underneath me. We'll see. But basically, I have a very long-range build that does reasonable damage, and does reasonable damage quickly, more importantly. Ooh, I almost got hit there. Thankfully I dodged, or by dodged I mean I stood entirely still and just didn't get hit or punished for it. But I'm kind of digging this Chain Skewer build, actually. This is kind of fun. Like, even though I don't get the return on every enemy,
the dead are useless.
No problem.
it still feels like I'm getting a good amount of damage. I don't really need rerolls, but it's always a good idea to take rerolls. I think I'm just going to take the Darkness here, though. Even with the idea of those duos... Oh, there's a little talking point that I missed over there. Oh, well. Even with the chance of duos, I don't think I really need the rerolls just yet. Although I guess if I got a good Chaos Boon that could land on the special, that would be pretty awesome. No matter. I'm taking that Darkness because ultimately I need more stacks of Fated Persuasion, because that will really benefit us in the long run. Just maxing out the mirror as a whole would be great. Have we even taken damage this run? I'm honestly unsure. We've just been clearing things out so easily. This build will probably start falling off as soon as we hit Asphodel and the enemies start getting a bit tankier. We'll take Artemis here first for more crit chance, I think. Let's see, Support Fire or Hunter's Mark. I mean, Support Fire is the fun option. Hunter's Mark is the better option. I think, because we're still running the Mom Pom, I'm going to take Hunter's Mark here, and maybe we'll take Support Fire next time she offers it. But Hunter's Mark for now, yeah.
Zag, I can take a jest, ask anybody, but when it comes to competition here, it's not a laughing matter. Do you understand me, man?
Yeah, you'll get over it.
Dionysus.
You'll just drink it off, Dionysus, I'm sure. But these bouncing crits are just kind of watching the spear just bounce everywhere and then crit on the same hit. It's doing up to 280 damage, I think I saw now. We just need a way to get status privilege. And then, oh, 329 damage crit. That was probably a back attack, which is why. But like, look how safe this build is. I just safe spot. And even toss out a cheeky attack every now and again, though it's strictly unnecessary, I would argue. But Hunter's Mark actually works really well with this build too, because if I crit one enemy, This Skewer may bounce to another crit marked
I
enemy.
just can't stay mad about you, Zach. And to be honest, why, I wasn't that mad to begin with. I just thought I'd shake your branches up a bit.
You were definitely angry, Dionysus, don't lie. Premium Vintage sounds pretty good because then we can get more palm levels on all of the boons that scale pretty well right now. Don't really want his attack. So yeah, we'll take Premium Vintage here. We've already got his call, so we're set for most duos that he could offer. Or at least we are set up to potentially get them. A palm or a shop. I could take the shop here, but another free palm sounds fine. We'll toss it on either Hunter's Mark or we'll toss it on the special. Special's starting to really hurt from diminishing returns. We're at 4% per level now, which isn't that amazing. 4 more damage on Dionysus's aid. Look, wow, we've got 28 per tick is per tick, which is every half second. It's pretty crazy, but I think Hunter's Mark is the best here because we're gonna be critting fairly often, especially with Chain Skewer bouncing to all the enemies, and then it could mark an enemy, bounce to the marked enemy.
Heard you had a real bash down in your daddy's house, Red Blood. So sorry I couldn't make it. Next time though, all right?
Sounds good, Electo.
Next time, definitely, Electo. We missed you for sure and wished you could have made it.
I feel like that might be sarcasm, Zagreus.
I'm sure you did. But you know, work comes first. So let's get busy.
All right, here, have a cast and a Skewer.
Now!
Never mind on the Skewer. I missed horribly there. Oop. Not a fan of how Chain Skewer is doing the thing that Zeus's cast does, where it kind of bounces wherever it wants, rather than if there's nothing to...
Right here.
If there's nothing left to do, it doesn't, like, go back to me or land, and then I can recall it sooner. It is surprisingly hard to aim at, apparently. The auto-target, once they're out of this level, once they're this far out of range, seems to not particularly like to aim for enemies.
Filter. That's it.
I also, just like the shield, in a way, like when you throw your shield, it appears that I can't really recall it until it's done bouncing, which could be risky business for overall DPS. Like, the DPS doesn't feel outstanding, but it clears out enemy rooms very nicely, so I can't complain too heavily.
She's getting angry.
You won't like me when I'm angry. Oh, the whole point was to try out a new build, and we are certainly trying out that build. Oh, you know what? Here, Dionysus will easily finish her. Because that hangover damage is no joke. 140, it's 280 damage per second with that Dionysus aid. It's kind of wild.
Tell Meg I said hello.
You said that so threateningly. Alright, so here's the question. Do I keep the Palm Blossom on because we still only have boons that I'd like to see?
Did you enjoy the stint in Tartarus?
Next stop, Asphodel.
Like, we only have 3 boons that benefit from Palm Blossom, and they're all pretty solid options to continue to get hit, so I think I will. Like I said, we want to see Athena, we want to see Aphrodite, but, like, honestly, if I don't see them, I'm not going to cry about it. Nothing here that I particularly want, so we'll hold on to our coin and we'll move on to the next floor.
Check.
So I do anticipate potentially this is where things are going to get a little bit more tricky by virtue of the fact that I just do not have... My base damage is overall fairly low. It's just that it's pretty... The DPS potential is pretty high, so we'll see. I feel like even more than Asphodel, Elysium's going to be a bit rough. But you know what? We're two-shotting most enemies if we get the crit, and that theory I had about Hunter's Mark, just bouncing to other enemies as they get hit by Chain Skewer, is actually really surprisingly accurate and impressively strong. And these tiny bloodless enemies, they're not surviving very well against this. I think this build does really well against trash mobs, but maybe just not bosses. And that's where we need those other boons or something else.
Here?
Just something else. I'm not sure what that else is, but let's see how much quick work we make of this Infernal Trove. Let's see how quickly this goes.
All right, who's next?
Like, that Hunter's Mark is doing work. I mean, it always does work, but it's funny. I didn't used to appreciate Hunter's Mark for what it is. Now I very much understand its potential power.
Blood and darkness.
Still find it hit or miss overall, but, like, I understand why a lot of runners consider it a very good boon. I mean, it's basically a guaranteed crit if you get a crit. It's just
I hear something.
I wish you could use it on
Hello, Zagreus.
bosses reliably, but a lot of bosses...
This one is off the record, Zagreus. Come on.
It's hard to use it effectively against bosses just because it deactivate or it won't work on single targets. So a lot of the core DPS phases of bosses are single target. Unfortunately, not always. And mind you, like, I mean, every boss has the ability to spawn minions. So that's not entirely true what I'm saying. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of projectiles. 1 second. Got a little overwhelmed on the screen. There we go. Cool.
Enough.
I'm glad I took jury summons. This feels fun with jury summons on.
Here's something for the show.
More enemies means more bounces.
See ya.
But I don't know. It feels like if there's not multiple targets to hit, it will fall off a little bit, just because we can't reliably get Hunter's Mark on an enemy. Because Hunter's Mark doesn't apply to the enemy you crit, it applies to another enemy nearby. And that's its biggest weakness, I would say.
Hey, everybody's saying Persephone. She's back? That sounds like a bit of good news there. Isn't that right, hon?
That it is.
Hey, she is back, and yes, it is good news, thank you. She and I have a lot of making up for lost time left to do, though I think we're off to a pretty decent start.
Well, that's a relief. And you're still here, so I guess you've got more official business to take care of, which means I've still got somebody to taste test for me every now and then.
It's interesting that she talks about taste testing. I never really thought about this, but is all this food for her, or is she, I assume she's sharing it with Orpheus, but is she sharing it with anyone else down in Asphodel, or is it just for her? And if she's making the same 3 dishes, why does she need a taste tester? I think by now she's probably refined this recipe to an immaculate order. Anyway, we're going to take Ambrosia to the Light because no matter which boon it hits, it's going to benefit us, aside from maybe Premium Vintage.
Coming right up.
Okay, we got it on our, we got a heroic.
That's good.
Ooh, okay, Kiwi, we got a heroic tier special now, which just means our damage is probably about as good as it can get, aside from just stacking very diminishing return sort of comms on it.
Snakes.
But 305 damage on base crit, not bad at all. Still potentially overall lacking in terms of damage for what I would love to see it do, but at the same time, the damage is pretty free, because it's very hard to be in range of an enemy to the point of being at risk of taking damage. I'm gonna pop a Dionysus call just to try and get some damage ticking on that head as it's flying, and that actually was enough to kill it because our Dionysus call is surprisingly stacked up.
Hades.
All right. Hangover sounds, or numbing sensation sounds pretty decent on paper. And I don't think I really benefit from positive outlook. I could try and reroll for their duo boon, because I like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm set up to get it now. Let's confirm that. It would be splitting headache. Yeah, so we could reroll for that. I don't know if I really want to, though, because it's only 7.5 crit chance and only on hungover enemies, which we don't really have a way of benefiting from yet, because we only have hangover applied by the call. But I think, yeah, I'll hold on for now. I won't reroll just yet. We're getting a key chamber here, which will help us eventually afford a reroll later if we need it. I think, honestly, if I want a particular boon to reroll at this point, it is, again, a duo with Aphrodite, and we haven't even seen her offered yet, unfortunately. But Heart Rend, for context, Heart Rend, the duo between Artemis and Aphrodite, is against weak afflicted foes, deal 150% more critical damage. So crit damage already does a 200% damage increase modifier. Effectively, you're dealing 2 times damage, or 3 times damage rather, to enemies that are... Oh, hey, there's Athena. Excellent. Okay. So we could take Athena on the cast, I guess. Or her dash, yeah. I definitely think I'll take Athena here. So basically, we are getting a huge, if we do get Heart Rend, we get a giant crit chance modifier.
Sometimes I think about the goddess Nyx and how I long for her to be the mother that I never had, cousin. Is it improper that I say such things to you? One would expect I would already have somebody on Olympus, yet it often feels as though I am the mother here.
I get that sense about Athena too. She definitely has the, like, how to phrase this? She has the, well, motherly vibe, but more so just the, she's the unwilling caretaker of a lot of immature children on Olympus, even though they are, by design, fully grown men. A lot of fully grown men. I think, yeah, let's take her cast here because I want Aphrodite's attack, I think. I don't really use Phalanx Shot that often, too, so it's an excuse to take it and just say, hey, look, we ran Phalanx Shot this run, even though I'm probably going to use it very little at all. It will be nice to have something that I can occasionally use to deflect projectiles. Oh, and look who showed up! Well, that's everyone we wanted.
I'll pay for that.
Alright, so I would have preferred getting her attack here, but I'm not going to re-roll, so we'll take Passion Dash. That's fine. Now we can get a pretty reliable status privilege if we get Hunter's Mark off, I suppose. I wouldn't call it reliable, per se. We need Exposed. If I can get Exposed, we're good, which is Athena's curse. But Passion Dash it is. Now we can potentially get the duos of all of those gods that we got lined up. And we'll take Hermes while we're here, too. Greater Haste or Swift Strike. Greater Haste, please. Hopefully set us up for a Rush Delivery combo, because that would definitely be an excellent damage modifier for our special at this point. And now, let's see what happens to Lernie's heads when I start fighting him this way.
Neck holding up?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dash in to drop Passion Dash on him, and then start spamming my special. Just every now and again, tag him with Passion Dash so that he gets a little bit more... Oh, I saw him charging that up and was like, oh, what are you doing, buddy? That was entirely avoidable. Oops. Alright, so here's where the build really starts to shine. We're going to make very quick work of these heads. I think I will save my Dionysus Call for the third phase when all the heads are on the floor. That way I can very reliably pop them with the poison and just wipe out those heads very quickly. Right, I need to remember that I have Phalanx Shot and that reflects projectiles, so I could have used that defensively there. It's fine though. Alright, watch this. We're going to have a very quick 5-head phase. Let's just wait for them to all pop out and then pop a call and just spread the love a little bit on these guys and just watch them bleed out real fast. Chain Skewer is doing some work, I have to say. I've got enough for a second Dionysus Call. I'm going to save it for when the head is out entirely. That should finish that one. Alright, grab our cast gem, tag him with the cast, pop in, Passion Dash, and then just watch him bleed to death and wait for our rewards. Oh, hold on. I was off by a tick, it's fine. One more tick and he would have died, though.
Got you.
And there we go. A pretty easy, non-threatening Lernie with a very good AoE build.
How could you, boy? That Hydra had a family.
And I think now is a very good time to take the Palm Blossom off because it's unlikely that we are going to be getting any further benefit from it. We just have too many boons that it could potentially hit that we don't really care about as much anymore. So that begs the question. I think pretty much all of the duo boons that I want are with Artemis, so why don't we take Artemis's keepsake here?
Might help.
Exactly, it might help. Oh, I should also start remembering to pop my keepsake. A 40% damage modifier. I mean, it's not going to get us to the boss fight. I think I hold on to this for now. Meaning I'll hold on to my coin.
Get out of this damn heat.
I definitely think we'll be able to afford a Titan Blood on this run. We often start Elysium with far less gold than what I currently have, so I think we'll be leaving Elysium with a fair bit of gold too. The shops just haven't really offered too much of what I want until that last one.
I've gone farther than I can see from here.
Alright, what do we got? Do we get our second hammer? No, we do get a Hermes though, so this is our chance for Rush Delivery. I will re-roll at least once on the off chance we are offered that, because honestly, aside from the duo boons, Rush Delivery is probably one of the best things we could possibly get at this point, and probably the only thing we really want aside from those duos, just because it's a huge modifier for extra damage. Yeah, so the cool thing about the recall on the spear is because we have Shadow Presence, the perk from the mirror, we do 50% more damage on back attack, and that means when we recall our spear, it's almost always a back attack, or a backstab rather. This would probably be a good build for more Athena because of how her boons do increase damage against backstabs.
Got from there just fine. Don't worry, cuz she had me looking after her and such. Seemed real nice. Told me to tell you hi.
Hi, Hermes. All right, what have we got? Hyper Sprint. I mean, Specialist Faster would be pretty cool. I don't know how that exactly works, and it's only a 10% modifier. Oh, hold on. Actually, you know what? One thing that I do want, that I keep forgetting we really want, is I'm trying to get greater recall so that we can unlock... You know what I'll do? I'll take Lambent Plume on the final floor and hope that we're offered a third Hermes boon in the shop. But I am going to try and take Flurry Cast here because that'll make it so we can potentially get greater recall. I know that's the lame option, but since we weren't off... we're doing fun. Let's do fun.
Let's see what else.
Rerolling once, did not get it, and we got nothing that I particularly want. Although I guess Quick Favor will make us be able to use that Dionysus call a little bit more reliably. I'll take that. Unfortunately, now I'm kind of locked myself out of everything that I wanted, unless we see that Hermes boon and I'm offered Rush Delivery. So that's fine. I still don't have an attack. I would love that attack to... Maybe I'll take Dionysus' attack, because now I can have a reliable way of getting Hangover and weak on enemies if I Passion Dash in and then tag him with a Dionysus attack, because I'm really not even using the attack to begin with, so what does it matter if I do put something that I'm not using on it? Or a weak boon on it, because I don't think Dionysus' attack is particularly good on a slower hitting weapon like the spear. So it is kind of wasted on the attack. I could make an argument for maybe tagging it on the spear with this current build, because we're bouncing. It's basically a weaker version of the Chaos Shield at this point, the way it's playing. But I think overall, it doesn't particularly matter what I put on the attack anymore since I'm not really using it. Of course, as I say that, now we get Flurry Jab, but I think this one's more fun because your special deals 50% more damage and has 50% crit chance on recovery. We're somehow building into an almost 100% crit chance build again, which will make for an excellent clickbait title if nothing else. All right, mid shop or Artemis? I think we take Artemis here because, like I said, we want her duos. Sure, we could be offered Artemis in the shop, but I do want to save up my coin for the potential, what's the word? Potential Titan Blood meta progression type items in sticks. But look at that. This is exactly what I was talking about before. We're having Hunter's Mark just bounce back and forth between enemies so that it's basically just a chain of crits. That's actually, this is a really weird but really cool and very effective synergy. I quite like that, actually. I'll have to keep that in mind next time I run like a Chaos Shield build or something, although crits on the shield special just never feel good unless you're maybe running I could make an argument for Beowulf's
Lady Artemis
special since it's a chunky one, but oh, Kiwi, we got it. This is the run, Kiwi. Heart Rend. Your critical effects deal even more damage to weak foes. Bonus damage versus weak, 150%. At this point, we're pretty much set, honestly. All right, we'll take another Artemis boon gladly because we could get another duo. We're starting off with Butterfly Ball. This Butterfly Ball is never going to get any of its minions to spawn because they are just going to get bounced to and immediately popped. I know I could have killed those butterflies and just like not taken that damage, but let's think about the alternative. Taking damage that I didn't need to, right? Way better to do that. We're critting for 420 on that poison, Kiwi.
In the name of Hades.
And they're splitting Headache, so Hangover Afflicted foes are more likely to take crit damage. It's just, the numbers are adding up very quickly and these enemies don't stand a chance. I think we're at the point where even bosses are going to get absolutely demolished by this build. I could be wrong. I very well could be wrong. You know, this build would be fun if we got the duo between Zeus and Athena. Not that I'm even close to building that way. We won't even see Zeus unless I force him in sticks at this point, because we already have our full god pool. We've got four gods in the rotation. But what I mean by that is basically, so the way that duo works is it is a matter of it basically turns so you have to take Zeus's cast first off. And so Zeus's cast is basically the equivalent of our special right now. It's the little lightning bolt that travels around enemies and bounces to them. And then you have to take Athena's cast, so we have that. And then we need to get a Zeus core boon, and then the duo turns, basically fuses Failing Shot with Zeus's cast. So it becomes the little lightning bolt that bounces around, but it's still Failing Shot, so it reflects all projectiles. Do I want 68% crit chance? I think, honestly, at this point, it's only one level. Diminishing returns are pretty potent on all of these options, but that damage on the Dionysus Aid, that's 4 more damage, but we multiply that by 5. So it's basically extra 40 damage a second. So I think we level up Dionysus' Aid here, honestly. And thanks to that boon we got from Hermes, we're going to be stacking ticks on that pretty quickly. Or we're going to be gaining God Gauge pretty quickly. Perfect. Actually, Athena's the only duo boon left that I particularly care about, right? Yeah, if we get Artemis's duo with Athena right now, not only will we have a pretty crazy reliable, I would say 100% crit chance, especially on recall of the Oh, okay, why did my cast go that way? Weird. Ow. Okay. Oh. So the main issue is I have to use Failing Shot to reflect things to get the duo from Athena to work properly, but that's not terribly difficult to do when enemies, even Hades, spams projectiles pretty reliably. And we have extreme measures for
Goddess Athena.
Theseus, so we'll be able to reflect his little shotgun attacks. Do I reroll here? I probably reroll here for a chance at the duo. All right, let's do it.
What about these?
All right, no option. I guess I could take the attack for a more reliable means of blocking projectiles because I'm not great at using the cast for that. And I think we can pretty reliably get weak on enemies using Passion Dash at this point, so sure, let's take Divine Strike. And then, you know what, we're having fun here. I know I can't get duos from this, but it will give us some more fun boons to just have in our arsenal. We'll choose, since we can't get duos, I guess we'll take Artemis first.
I won't forget this.
You know, that is a tempting offer, Artemis, but the attack isn't that great. Okay, this though, 228% more damage against armor means armor will never be relevant in this game again, pretty much. So, sure, let's take Hidebreaker. It's only against armor, so that falls off on a lot of enemies, but...
You could have avoided this outcome any number of ways, yet still you risk incurring my wrath.
Just, it's a numbers game. It's a dopamine rush of numbers, right? If I add things up, how much damage do I do to crit? How much crit damage do I do to armored enemies? 228, the base 200, and then 150 from Rend. We're just like, if I crit an armored enemy, it doesn't matter what my base damage is, that armor is just coming off immediately. We are just an armor melting build now. So like, one crit is all it takes. One crit is all it takes, game. We are not getting any crits on these armored enemies. Well, they had armor, and the armor has somehow disappeared, so I must have gotten one crit. It's basically, like, the thing about this build is if I just make sure that I tag the... Oh my goodness, I think the trap crit for 1,000 there. I didn't know traps could do that. Just trying to pop that with the attack before it, I do think potentially one weakness of this build is just the effect of shield enemies. If I don't position properly, they will just block my attack altogether. And then the spear keeps bouncing, but it doesn't hit them more than once.
Conflict between the members of our family is inevitable, Zagreus. All we can do is learn and grow from it.
Well said, Athena. Let's see. Still did not get your legendary or your duo, but we do get Blinding Flash, which is just as good because now we do 50% bonus backstab damage, and we're pretty reliably able to backstab enemies.
Might as well.
Come, heroes of Elysium,
well,
and vanquish the intruder.
I guess that's the trade-off. If I have a single target enemy, backstab damage is probably going to be the core of our DPS. And if I have multiple enemies, then it's just doing chain Hunter's Mark. But did you see that guy's armor just disappear into nothing? Wild.
Worthless wretches.
Well,
all mine.
Like I said when I entered this run, I did not have any idea as to what I wanted to run on this build, but the game very much provided. I think there is something I want from Aphrodite here.
Help keep me going.
Somehow it wasn't either of these. But low tolerance sounds great, because now Dionysus's aid can stack 3 more times. We're just being hand-fed all of the things we could want on this build. Which gives me very bad juju vibes for the next 32 heat run I try to make, or the next high heat run I try to take, where I'm just going to inevitably be screwed out of all of the boons I could possibly want, or the next gimmick build I want to run, which is more likely.
If you seek a swift and righteous death, you fiend, you've come to the right place.
If you say so, Theseus. Here, have a spear. Have a spear. Have a spear. All right, that's our first crit. And now we just need to keep chaining these crits. 500 and something damage. 469.
you filth. You'll gain no
Like, we
quarter
have
from
got
me.
the damage, and now Asterius is back, so we can get... Or did I just... Yeah, Asterius. For a moment, I was like, is that the guy from Baldur's Gate 3? Which is Asterion. You know, when Baldur's Gate was all of the talk, and I had heard a lot about Asterion, I mind you, I still haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, but when Asterion had been all of the talk in I don't know what to call it, but basically, I kept getting Asterius and Asterion mixed up for some reason. Ooh, this is perfect. So now Theseus is on the ground. I'm gonna hit them both with Dionysus's Call, toss a cast into them, and then just watch them get melted by the poison damage. Like, goodbye HP. There's Theseus and Asterius. Well, I can't get Hunter's Mark anymore, which is the one downside to killing him so quickly. But I think we're fine. Need to remember to tag him with Passion Dash so that I can get status privileged on him by hitting him with one attack, and then watch this poison damage tick up. Fortunately, we didn't get the full hit, or the full stacks, but we can get up to 8 stacks. I think we will need to get the, like, greater call of Dionysus for this to work, unfortunately, to see the full potential, but I'll have to do that once and just see what happens. As always, my shade giving me good vibes, and on to Styx, where this build will probably just demolish the tiny vermin.
Force me to send Cerberus ahead again.
It's single target AoE though, so as weird as that sounds, so it's possible that one might survive long enough to get the hit in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Lambent Plume, and the reason for that is not that I expect to get much benefit from it, but it could convince Hermes to offer us either the legendary we're looking for or Rush Delivery, which are like the two things we need for this build at this point to make it any stronger than it already is. I'm not going to sell anything, obviously, so I think we're on to the next floor.
One more stop.
I need a good...
Courtesy of the Pact.
Just shy of 400 obols to be able to afford a Titan Blood here, but I think I can probably eke that out pretty easily. Any gold pots for Jeff? Doesn't look it. It's always sad when these chambers have nothing to offer, because that chamber in particular seems to be the one that most reliably offers them. Sadly, no Hermes, so the Lambent Plume is kind of wasted here, but we are offered a whole lot of gods out of nowhere. Okay. We'll start with Artemis, because at this point, there's never a... We still don't even have pressure points, so we could get a little bit more crit chance, which is kind of crazy to me. That was like the slowest Snake Stone possible. If we had 2 Snake Stones in the room, this room would have been a lot faster, watch. Because now we get the chained Hunter's Mark, and see, somehow a single Snake Stone is tankier than a room of 3. Just because of how our build has like scaled into, just our damage depends on multiple enemies in a room, it seems. But I really like this synergy. It's such a weird synergy that I wouldn't have expected. But I definitely, oh my goodness, goodbye tiny vermin. Go ahead and pop that little coin crate and watch my spear just, this is probably the funnest extermination job I've ever seen. Alright, and now we have a giant room full of many enemies, and they're just going to be made short work of by a bouncing skewer of critical death. I'm pretty sure we are at the point where, with all of our modifiers, we are at 100% crit chance, with at least the recall on our spear. I am taking so much more damage than I need to. Here, have a hangover. But this is definitely going to be another one of those, I got this much crit chance in one run. Look at how crazy this run got. Sort of builds. Alright, let's grab this pool because I'm poisoned. I guess I can't call hangover poison when there is an actual poison damage that we can take and that enemies can take too. Alright, oh man, I mean, obviously pressure points is more important here, but will you forgive me if I take support fire? Because I forgive me for taking support fire.
My senses sharpen.
Let's be honest, at this point, it really, 2% crit doesn't really matter that much.
Mine.
Also, kind of at this point, I don't know what gods I particularly care about having at this point, so there are more duos to be gained, but none of them are like super incredible strong, I think. I guess let's take Athena. I don't really have anything I want from her or Dionysus at this point, but it doesn't hurt to take them. Oh my goodness, I didn't think about that. Support fire is every time your attack or cast or special hits an enemy. And with our special bouncing to every enemy, we're spawning tons of arrows rapid fire. So you know what? That's up to 7 enemies hit at once with that special. This actually works really well with support fire. I'm kind of surprised because I didn't think about that. That's really funny actually. All right, so unfortunately we have 1 enemy, but a good crit to the gut and we're done. Like, armored enemies don't stay armored at all anymore. Okay, I'm actually having a lot of fun with this build. I did not expect this from the aspect of Zagreus of all weapons. Let's be honest, it's like the most milquetoast build that you could have, or the most milquetoast of the spears, although I might honestly prefer its effect because it extends the range of your special compared to the Hades aspect, which admittedly sounds really strong on paper. I just have not been impressed by it because I've only used it once, and I guess it just doesn't fit my playstyle. Maybe that's the issue. But like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like an aspect weapon that I'd particularly want. If I'm gonna choose between the spears, I'm gonna either choose. I'm definitely gonna first and foremost consider Achilles, because Achilles gives you an 150% damage modifier. Why wouldn't I consider Achilles? It's not just busted on paper, it's busted in actuality. It is so unnecessarily strong for what it does. If you get a good cast or attack focused build going, that spear just wrecks house.
In the name of Hades.
Deadly reversal. Oh, there we go. I forgot we didn't have this one yet. After you deflect, briefly gain 20% chance to deal critical damage. Yeah, if we didn't already have a ridiculously high crit chance, we're basically...
Hope this can get me out of here.
A lot of these crit modifiers are dependent on enemies having the second status ailment, and I recognize that fact.
Something I can use.
But even then, it's just, wow. Wow, Kiwi, this build has just scaled wildly out of control. I will take the coin chamber right here, I think, because then it'll allow us to afford another Artemis boon, which I think will be more fun than anything else we could potentially take. And I don't think there's much from Dionysus at this point that could really offer us too much in the way of more benefit than what we have. I mean, again, we got every single duo boon that we could have possibly hoped to have gotten. And I mean, what else can I say? This build is insane. Okay, I'm gushing a little too hard about the build. Let's like, the only thing we're missing though, genuinely, is rush delivery. If we had gotten rush delivery, this would have been like the most blessed run that could have possibly be conceived.
Another one of those especially gigantic vermin.
And you know what? I don't even care that we are having terrible sticks luck, because it literally doesn't matter. We're critting for 1,000 damage every now and again if we get the backstab, which we're not getting anymore because the rat seemed very convinced to not face us as we just penetrated it from behind with that skewer nonstop. All right, let's go ahead and buy this Artemis boon.
Don't spend it all in one place.
Clean kill, you're critical. Oh, okay. Clean kill, 15% more critical damage, or I think honestly the God Gauge charging up faster is objectively better here. 15% more on top of what we already have doesn't sound like that much. So, but being able to get Dionysus's call up more often does sound phenomenal. Let's see if we get that 2% 5-chamber sticks, or is it 6-chamber, whatever. Or I guess I don't count the first chamber because the thing about the first chamber is you're guaranteed to never see the Satyr sack, so it's always at minimum 1 extra chamber beyond the first, or at maximum 5. That's why I call it a 5 sticks, even though it's technically 6 chambers. That's just how I think about it, I guess. Look at support fire just like raining out of control. I'll have to do the math at the end of the run and just see like what were our crit modifiers at this point, because we have so many crazy modifiers on a build that's basically guaranteed to crit. All right, there we go. There's our Satyr sack.
In the name of Hades.
Dionysus, what have you got to show for us? Yeah. I mean, 3% more damage? Sure, I guess I'll take that, but nothing too exciting about that. Maybe I should have tossed my 1 reroll at it and just seen what it'd give us. We can still afford that HP, so I guess I'll take that. Alright, Charon, our blessings are received. Let us go talk to Cerberus.
Gigantic Cerberus accepts the prince's foul offering.
And
I can go.
let's see how this deals with Hades, because again, the biggest risk right now is our lack of single target damage, but the second he starts spawning minions onto the field, maybe I just wait for him to pull his shield down and then let things
Looks like
bounce.
needs some adjustment still.
All right, there's a fish over there. I better not forget it.
I must admit, this is a welcome change of pace from all the parchment work.
I don't know if I'd view death the same way as you do, Hades, but you are the god of the dead, so maybe, I don't know. All right, let's dash into him to apply Passion Dash and tag him with the attack to get as many crit modifiers as we can, hit him with this, and now we are basically at 100% crit chance. Unfortunately, he wasted time by dashing out of that, and it clears all debuffs, so very frustrating that he does that. Oh, pardon you, sir. Here, have some more of these. Let's go take out these things real quick. I love that I can basically just outright ignore them for the longest time. Alright, here we go. His wretches are on the field. I'm going to focus on dodging them. Unfortunately, he got the ones that give damage control shield, so I'm going to have to take them out. Because I can't hit him. I can't hit him because of that. That's so annoying. Alright, get rid of this Void Stone here. Have a Dionysus. Pop another Dionysus, and this should phase him very quickly. I'm not even worried about taking damage against him, let's be honest. We are so unbelievably set, and he's still spawning more Void Stones, so sadly I will have to focus on DPSing out his allies rather than focusing on DPSing him. But, man, that's the one downside to these modifiers that are dependent on enemies being tagged by status ailments. It's just a matter of I can't reliably hit them. Or I can't reliably maintain them, rather, because Hades is constantly casting darkness and clearing all debuffs on himself.
Like that?
I know I am taking a lot of damage, but I really just have my brain turned off at this point. Here we go. Alright. Our skew is probably going to bounce to these... It doesn't bounce to the pots, really interesting. Huh. It's weird how so many things consider those pots targets, and then this does not. No matter, we'll toss a Dionysus cast on him. Take the hit, because it literally doesn't matter. How much is our poison ticking for? 229 with no crit. I guess if we had pressure points, that would be one... This is one instance to consider maybe I should have taken pressure points, because it would have given us crit chance on the poison as well. But I don't think it terribly matters at this point. Like, look at our DPS.
Not now.
It's not the craziest, but everything up until this was, and I'm happy with this outcome. Just so many big numbers, Kiwi.
How did you accomplish this?
Extraordinarily, incredibly good RNG.
Again,
We were truly blessed by the Olympians on this one. Like, look at this.
By my father's name.
Look at this. And this does this not even include all of the duos that we got? I think it does, but like, geesh. Okay, let's stack these up. I think it'll make my brain do a happier if I toss this here. 1 second. Let's get rid of low tolerance for a second. Put that there. Like, let's look at this. We got a heroic special, and we got 4 duo boons. We can't even fit all of the duo boons on this screen because of that. Like, look at this. It's insane. All right, but let's before we call it an episode, let's do the math. Let's do the math of how much crit chance did we max out on. So hold on. Let's see. Can I not? Will it not? Okay, sorry, I thought I had to right click to remove those. So let's see. Base crit chance with the special was 20%. So we've got a 20% crit chance out the gate. Then we get, let's see. That doesn't affect, okay, 50% crit chance on recall. So that's 20 or 70, depending on which hit we're doing. Then we get Hunter's Mark, which is 62%, and pretty much up 100% of the time because of how Chain Skewer worked. So that's a number that I don't want to math out, but we're at like 80, at minimum 82% if it's marked without the recall damage. Then we get another 7.5, which increases to 12.5, I believe, because of the way, what is it? low tolerance, letting hangover stack up to 8 times. Assuming 8 times 1.5 is 12.5, which I'm not convinced it is. It would be, it's just 12. It's just 12, I believe. Forgive me if I have math wrong. I'm doing this very quick in my head. Then we also got Deadly Reversal, which is another 20%. So we're at 12, 20, which is 32, 52, and then Hunter's Mark pops us over 100% plus the 50% from the other hammer we got. That's a big number. That's a big number. Over 100% is all I care about. All right, but what a wild run. I could not for the life of me have predicted that was how this was going to go, and I am so glad it did. Not to mention just the sheer modifiers we had on crit damage. Armored enemies did not stand a chance. Any enemy that took a crit regardless was taking effectively, I want to say 3.5 times more damage, which is just or maybe it's 4.5, whatever. What a crazy run, Kiwi. Oh man, what a crazy run. I should try this again on 32 heat at some point. Although I don't think I will ever have this much RNG in my favor again. What a trip though. All right, let's go get our fish before we forget it.
Sure, why not?
But yeah. Glad that run went the way it did. I have probably used up all of my luck for this week, unfortunately. But
think I got one.
What a good run.
I am victorious.
Thanks for joining me on it.
Upon the surface realm, the mortal-loving prince would doubtless find that death still comes in a variety of different forms. One of the most common, yet perhaps least interesting, involves simply waiting long enough until...
I think it would be cool if Than every now and again would visit to help us be taken by the sticks, just like bring us with him.
Well, that was interesting.
Hooray! Welcome back to our most frequent guest.
It is. We really must be the most... Actually, well, I guess technically Hades is not as frequent as us because we have lost a couple runs.
Mistakes are opportunities for learning, lad.
But I haven't made any.
Take care, sir.
Zagreus.
Each savage maw of Cerberus salivates in anticipation of the next time to feed.
It looks like we've exhausted most of the house dialogue at this point, unfortunately.
Seek pity someplace else.
I've realized that, and I mean, I realized this a while ago, but the characters in the house don't have anything new to say unless they have an exclamation point above their head.
Thus starts and ends our brief exchange of pleasantries.
With that said, it looks like we're getting some new dialogue between Than and Nyx, though.
I hope your day or night is just as splendid as my own, my friend.
Morpheus, we got a sundial. You know what time it is now. It is...
Interesting texture.
What time is it? Oh, this is the sundial. Oops.
It's almost 8 o'clock.
It's almost 8 o'clock. But AM or PM, Zag? This is important. AM or PM? Well, we will never know.
Am I imagining it, Mother, or has this house been running relatively smoothly as of late? Although I know I must be tempting the three fates by putting it like this.
It is through a concerted effort that the house thus thrives for now. Though it shall do so only through continued diligence on your behalf, and that of many others here. It is a good occasion to take brief reprieve, but we need you working to the best of your ability here, Thanatos.
Well, know that I am ever grateful, Mother. And I love you very much. Where would we be right now if not for you? I don't take what you've done for us for granted, nor does anybody here. You rest assured.
A sweet sentiment. Sometimes it's nice to just have someone validate the work that you do.
Thank you, my son.
Granted, I don't think Nyx of all characters in this game needs that validation. All right, 20 gemstones for 2 keys. I'll take that. I guess it's not that much, but sure, why not?
Please take these, will you, chef?
Couple fish. Let's see. We got ambrosia and gems.
Why, thank you.
And then Meg seems to be in the mood for something. Let's go ahead and give her a talk.
Don't even say a word and follow me. Oh, I have an idea.
Weird. Oh, we are getting new dialogue, though.
Take care until we meet again, I guess.
Never mind. That was hardly new dialogue. We don't really get to see Thanatos that often in here, though. All right, what do we get? Oh,
the
right.
prophecy has been fulfilled.
I forgot. We got the we got Chain Skewer, which was where everything's just started going out of control.
Baratha, has there ever been a greater spear?
But now we have that all taken care of. Okay, Kiwi, looks like that's about the end of the episode. I hope you've enjoyed watching. Let's say goodnight to Skelly.
You could be hitting me right now, boyo.
You said it, buddy. All right. Ooh, a bow run at long last. All right. We have not used Chiron nearly as much, and there is a build that almost beat 45 heat for me in a recent run off camera that I think I want to try out. So look forward to that in the next episode. Maybe we'll do a 32 heat run of Chiron. That sounds doable. Yeah, let's do that. All right, Kiwi. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and if you're awake, I hope this is helping you fall asleep. If you're asleep, I hope you're sleeping well. I love you, and in the next episode, Chiron 32 heat, we're going to be doing a fun Sea Storm build, and I'm going to max it out off camera. So with all that said, I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care now.